Ahoy friends, welcome to another episode of Building the Alpha Dory. I'm Dan, and this is a project to build a Chamberlain racing dory from John Gardner's The Dory Book, illustrations by Sam Manning. Today we'll be out in the shop finishing up putting in the seat risers. Let's get out there and get to it. Yeah, it's just been a gorgeous day out here. It's super still right now. Not really even a breath of air moving. Alright, so last time we put in this riser here. So now what I'm doing is just taking scrap wood, which happens to be two of the kick sticks that I use to clamp boards to the bench, and then the other vertical that was clamping the bottom of the dory to the bed, which isn't doing that right now. But, it's just any piece of straight wood, and I'm measuring across with a level and locating where the riser needs to be on this side from the riser that I've already installed. So this riser, we got it as close to where we wanted it as possible. Now we're using this as a known quantity to get the other riser at just the right location. Now the biggest thing with the riser is you want the riser dictates the seat height. So you don't want the seats angled like higher on one side of the boat than on the other. And it's pretty easy to tell if your seats are off angle because, number one, the seats match up with each other. So you can tell if one end of the riser is high and the other end is low, then the seats will kind of spiral as they go back. And then the other thing is you've got the bottom frames, the frames of the on the bottom, and you can see those frames are lining up with the seats as we've got them, which we want to happen as well, because that's the other way to tell if if the seats are at an angle to the bottom of the boat. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's the seat riser that we made up last episode. We got the bead cut in the bottom of the rail, and the curvature that we figured out took off the from measurements here, and also from the off the pattern. Okay, and so you can see I've got these clamped down nice and tight, so I can just push this in here and up against, and it'll stay on its own. Now the one thing that I hadn't done yet is marked fore and aft on the riser, so I need to measure that and make sure we've got it the same amount fore and aft as the other riser. So this is 6 inches ahead of the bow frame. And this here is, she's 7 inches behind the stern frame. So I can mark 7 inches here. And that will be where the frame should fall. And I'll mark 6 inches back at the bow. That's where the frame should fall. Alright, so that gives us our overhang so that we don't get the one so we don't get one riser ahead or behind the other one. So I'm going to go there with the first clamp. Alright, where's the other clamp? Oh, didn't think I see it. It's over on the other side of the boat. Just found the wood. While I was over there, I should have grabbed that. Alright, what else am I gonna need? Here's the clamp and block. So I will use the same method as on the other side to hold the riser in place. And this is just that much easier because we're able to just push the riser up against the riser up against the blocking we've got, and we know that it's going to be at the right height. It's super simple. I'm just trying to move this block forward so I'll have room to drill. Nice and tight there. Now we got to check the front to back. Looks like we're going to have to come this way a little bit, which good there. thing. But we're almost there. Gotta give it a tap back about a ½ inch. Looking good down this end. Alright, so check these levels again. Checking the seat heights, because the board is up nice and tight now. The seat riser is up nice and tight against the seat, so as long as the seat heights are correct. Oops, we got an issue here. This has come up, so we'll have to clamp that. I'm not sure if this is going to be wide enough. Just grab a big clamp and be certain. This has to be down. I don't even know if this is in the video, but this this front seat had come off the riser on the far side, so it's clamped in the right spot over here, but it was off the riser over here, so it was up in the air, which would allow this riser to come up a little bit. Not exactly being just the right spot. So I'm checking all the risers to make sure they're level to the bottom frames and level to each other. And there we go. The issue I'm having is that when this springs out, it shifts this end down. I think I'm in a good spot right now though, so let's get some screws in there before it moves again. Got these dipped in some Danish oil so that they're wet going in. Tight there. Make sure that this can come come up to where it's supposed to be. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, we'll get enough flex out of that to bring it up tight. Make sure this is up tight. Should be able to get in there with the drill. The Danish oil really helps those screws go in, especially into the yoke. When I get near the end of the drive, I come off the handle and just twist my hand on the bit here, the bit brace. It's a lot harder to first of all, it's a lot easier to feel just how tight you're putting the screws in, and it's a lot more difficult to snap a screw off. Tight down there. I'll get a screw in up top, and then I think I'll be able to take this off. There's that wedge. Yeah, I think I'm going to want to re-drill that one. Not a big deal. These screws don't go in all that deep, so yeah. Yeah, just looking for a piece of wood to wedge in there. Yeah, that's got it. There we go. This out of the way. The other one in. Alright. Great. Yeah, you see how as those screws go in, the clamps that were holding the riser go loose because it's just tightening everything up that much tighter than even the clamps can hold it. So that lets you know the screws are doing their thing. Alright, now we'll do the last. Alright. And you may have noticed that as I'm putting these slotted screws in, the slots in the screws, I'm not lining them up with any of the other slots in any of the other screws. I'm not lining them up front to back. I'm not lining them up side to side. I'm not putting these screws Alright, I guess you get the point. I'm not putting these screws in with any regard to slot orientation. What I'm doing is I'm tightening these screws down till they're the absolute pinnacle of perfection as far as tightness goes. So when the torque on the screw head reaches the absolute best possible level, that's when I stop turning the screw. And that's how you can tell that all these screws are tightened perfectly. Because if all the screw heads were lined up, like if all the slots were either facing forward and aft or facing vertically to prevent moisture buildup in the slot or whatever, then you'd know for sure that some of the screws were too tight, some of the screws were too loose, and the boat just might fall apart because of it. So, yeah, anyway, just my 2 cents on lining up screw heads. Yeah, all right, so we're looking good here. Got got the seat risers in, and next thing is to make the seats. Cut the seats out and put them in the boat. I've actually started in on that. This here is the plank we're going to be using for the seats. I've already planed it down and cut it to a width. It was a 10.5-inch plank, and I cut it down to the 9 inches and ran it through the planer. Gorgeous piece of wood. And like I said, the seats are a structural member in the boat, so they're going to get heavily kneed in. And yeah, but that'll come later anyhow. The fourth seat, this seat, center seat, the sailing seat, is actually going to be removable. So number 1, number 2, and number 4 are going to be screwed into the boat and with knees and whatnot. Number 3 is going to be a removable sailing seat, and that way you can take it out and you've got this large open area between the end of the centerboard box and the last seat, and it's a large enough area to use as a sleeping area if you wanted to sleep on the floor. We're also going to make some slats that fill in between the seats in this area, so you can actually make a sleeping platform in here. And then either side of the centerboard box will be stowage for gear and whatnot. The bow will be anchor and chain and rode and anything else that's a jib and sail rig stuff. And then we'll have the transom will be, any other sailing stuff. The rudder will be back there at times. Though I think we're going to be able to make the rudder so that it's able to slide, so that it can just slide up, so you won't have to take it off the stern of the boat in order to have it up above the level of the bottom, so that when the boat is drying out, if you're sleeping on the beach or in a mud flat or whatever, that shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, looks like we got some good work done this evening, and yeah, I'll see you next episode. It's almost dark out here now. The marshes are that away. The Plum Island and the ocean behind. Yeah, nice and quiet out here tonight. Thanks for dropping by Building the Alpha Dory. Massive thank you to everyone who's liked, subscribed, and supported the channel. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the comments section and next episode. Bye.